How about this piece? It's one of the, thank you, one of the most beautiful, right, in the literature. It must be so, I never learned it, and maybe I will. It's one of the most satisfying ending, right? It's it's so beautiful. And it's so beautiful that you can only repeat it, right? How many times? 2, 3 times, and then the 4th time even slower, right? Yeah. So then, of course, we have to wonder, do we have to repeat it equally? You know, a couple of times is okay, but then by the 3rd time, we might have to do something a bit different. Of course, it's very beautiful because the end is not Schumann, it's Beethoven. This is the theme from the An die ferne Geliebte, the last song, you know, it's in E flat major. But anyway, we'll get to that. First, I have a small question for you, though. When you reach this moment, I don't know if you have bar numbers in that edition, but 259, when you were, and you begin this beautiful, is that the Handley or?
It's the Clara Schumann.
Okay, so near the end, just very near the end. So. Yes. Could you play this? Good, go on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because you played A natural, so right, making sure that it was just a, you know, an accident there. There is another, so I start from a couple of little things that I wanted to check. One is right before the famous right. I also heard I heard a chord in the left hand without the F sharp. Let's check that also. This, making sure it's F sharp, right? Yeah, you see, maybe you were used to that. Yes, yes, it's a diminished 7 chord. Yes. Yeah, okay. Now you'll never forget this one. When these things happen to me, even sometimes after many years, I feel so sorry for myself. So when there are extra ledger lines or when the music is too crowded, sometimes I just really sit down and I want to check every note because it's so easy to make these errors. Now, let's talk about this music. As usual, one of the hardest things is what to make of this turbulence. All this, because the pedal, in the time of Schumann, the instruments were, of course, more transparent. First of all, because there was no crossing of the strings, which maybe began when Steinway in Hamburg operated the change, and it's a mysterious thing. We don't really know exactly why he wanted to do that. Probably the reason is that it produces a more mixed set of harmonics, and the more harmonics into the playing means more sound also, no? So it carries the sound more. That goes along with the expansion of concert halls and all of that. Fine, but maybe Schumann had a if you try, for example, on a Bissendorfer piano that's generally more transparent, you won't have all these. The problem is the contiguous note, because if I do, but even that, so maybe there must be a way not to fully raise the dampers and find a little lighter. And along with this, I think you attempted to pinpoint a little. That used to be one thing that Schnabel mentioned to my teacher, Leon Fleischer, which was in the beginning of this piece. There are hidden bells. And I thought, wow, that's interesting that he figured. So there is also this that happens. It shouldn't be too prominent. Not too prominent, of course, because then suddenly, but it's almost like preceding modern music because it doesn't exactly go with the beat. So it's slightly off, like bells are. They never, if you play two bells together, they never play together somehow, right? They're always like, ba-dim, ba-dim, ba-dim. There is this effect of not catching, the same sound. So try, but a little bit half pedal, a little bit lighter also in the sound, like, yeah. If you practice without pedal, you get this, yes, that kind of color. It's not semi-staccato, but it's kind of. This is the hardest. Yeah. Can you try? Yes. Some people nowadays even do with one hand, but it's too resonant. Just the pinky is enough. Just delay. Don't go. Just. Then it can be pushed a little. Right. Good. That's quite transparent. Upon that, you can edify your. This is the center here. And then you can slow down. So there should be a direction between. The rhythm itself creates direction to the third A, but then we have a T, T, T. So we have another descending. Clara, yes, the famous descending tunes of Clara. Good. Let's try again the opening. That's a little too. A bit too angry. Can you find position the hand and then see if you can. Imagine that you are actually moving the piano away from you. Yes, that. Yeah. So you are connected with the spine through your legs all the way. Yeah. You almost feel it better when your feet are here. If you put your feet back here, you can do. Yeah. You have that sensation, right? Yeah. So when you feel. It's a bit calmer, more self-contained. Yeah. Right? It's a completely different lyrical feeling. And then if you want, and finally, you can use rhythm, to create more excitement. Yes. Let's do it again. And so your first goal is to get to this. The second goal is to go from to this one. Wow. Okay? Yeah, try. And then here, slower, then restart. 1, and then 2, and then now 3. Good. And since we did so much of, maybe this time, singing more with the thumb as well as the pinky, but more present with. So that the duet now begins to be more expressive even, no? Yes. Because there is a... It's quite sad, this, yeah. Can you try from maybe from the climax? But careful with this. Remember the... You can, of course, have some space, originate speed through space, to the height, but still with this movement and... yeah. Yes. Lower voice. Yes, feel that the thumb is doing this on the key a little bit. Yeah, if the thumb feels exactly, it goes from left to right on the key, the right hand, and right to left for the left hand. When you do this, you feel connected to the elbow even more. So you transfer a tiny bit more weight in the key, and it makes the voice warmer. Provided that the arm is fluid and it doesn't have sudden motions, you know. Yes. Yes. So they're all concentric movements, you know. These are... And you have to try to get into a small box here from... And then to hear these two notes, and that's why starting without pedal is very helpful, because of the bubbles of this beautiful cascade, you know. Bubble. Okay, try one more time from this climax. Keep rotating these. Too much pedal to get this. That creates, yeah, you want no pedal. It's a little too loud, maybe. When you pivot on this, try. Maybe you could try alternative fingering. 1, 2, 1, 4, 3. Yeah. Anyway, but basically, yeah, much lighter. Yes. That kind of lightness from staccato, you reach legato from staccato. If you start legato, sometimes it's heavy. But if you start, then you unite the tones. You see, so then you could use the pedal a little later, yeah. So sometimes no need for so much pedal. These are... Instead, I try to legato thumb. So... You can play a scale legato. By using your wrist and by transferring 5 and 4, 4 becomes 5, and the thumb with the wrist, yes, exactly. You play at the tip, you slide, by going down with the wrist, you slide the thumb up a little, it goes almost to the next key, right? And then you put it down. Yeah, you can learn a lot of octave legato, which If you can do that, it frees up the need for pedaling everything, because we pedal primarily because we don't want these gaps in the sound. But if we can, even sometimes, you see, by using one, it becomes two, and releasing the pinky last minute, then very good. No, that one is the one where you stay at the edge of the key and you go up with the finger to go to the next key. Yes, that's right. Look at that. Octave legato without. Don't press. Yes, I think it's because you're double jointed, so when you go low, it pops a little bit. So not to press, and not to go too low maybe. Can you go just low but without any pressure in the, yes. Like imagine that it's as light as if I put like a sheet of paper under your finger, I could slide it out. That means you only hold 55 grams, 52, whatever, the weight of the key. Which actually goes very well with the pianist. Then you can put a veil of pedal, of course. Yes, you can. Try from here. Good. And you see what causes this music to be a little strange is these. Ta-ta, too happy. Ha-ha. That's what the problem is. We have to make it more lyrical. Like a voice that sings on the vowel, skipping the consonant, like that. It's like, la, that causes, So relax the rhythm when you are here. And then you can go in the long notes, you can go. But when you have a melody that does da, ra, pa, lengthen it, then go, ra, ra. Try. Beautiful. Besides, it's so nice to hear the pauses. The pause between a bit. Then pedal now. I think we need a bit more espressivo these. Try to find a luminous color, maybe through the gesture. And if you have to use 3, 4, so be it. You hear the calando in the note? Now catch it. Beautiful. If you do that, then bend the hand. Or the first finger slides out, the second takes its place. Yes, beautiful. It's almost as though you're not repeating the key. You're not, yeah, exactly. Try. Beautiful. Maybe a bit more of thrill here. Wow. Warm up. Yes. And left hand. Second time. Yes. Now, this is a very strange theme. It's basically this. but he wrote it in syncopation. And the only understanding of a syncopation I have is if I didn't have two hands and I wanted to play this, I would do this. Well, I wouldn't be able to do that, but I would be able to do this and feel the... You see, it makes me feel the interval. With two hands, I don't feel the interval. So for you to feel the interval, you know it takes a little longer for you to play. It takes a little longer, right? So you play in tempo everything, except for that. Maybe. And then. Can you try just that without the bubbly water here? Just the then an octave higher. Now try for me this. Try with the left hand. The difficulty, yes. So yeah, if learn with one hand, you'll learn to approach this sticky tune, you know, that creates a lot of tension in between. It's almost like a rubber band, you know, you're pulling it a little bit, pulling and relaxing, and then try again. It should have that. If it's too, it loses that aspect, I think. So you'll learn it that way, and then you try to bring it back to the two hands by doing physical motion with your body. It's almost as though you were doing like this, fighting with the instrument, like, you know, for the purpose of making this something like that. Right. To hear the bubbly now, the action of what I hear is with one pedal when you play, I might hear the C minor chord, but then after this it's a nebula. So I need to a second change of pedal, or I would suggest to pedal the first note, then up. At the end of the 16th notes, not the beginning. Like, so you hear, at least you hear this a little, and then it becomes a nebula after. Good, try. And of course, maybe there should be, I don't know, it's not indicated, but for me, this one is a very agitated, in Germans they call it the Seitenthema. It's a very agitated theme. And so, so that if it's approached with some agitation, then you have time to calm it down the second time. It's very strange because this tune has tension with the syncopation and long notes. This other tune instead is quarter notes, so it's faster. And this strange writing with the staccato on the first note, what to do with that is... talk about it because we don't really know what to do. It's a mystery in the notation. Maybe it's really about the writing shows agitation. If it were like a long slur for the left hand, it would be like the same as the beginning, like this. So it's to show a little, maybe the and a little bit of that. Yeah. So try, and do it from here, maybe. So start with emotion immediately. Try. Then calmer. Now, but always make sure that the turbulence of the left hand doesn't win against the melody. So you should still cantabile. These, try to stay very close with them. And the small gesture with the thumb like this. And remember when I told you to pick with the finger, you can also good. Let's talk, I'm sorry, this one was a bit too abrupt for me. This. Make it a bit more noble. This is a thank you card to Liszt, who had initiated, this enormous prospect of creating the monument about Beethoven that's still in Vienna now, right? And Liszt paid with many of his concerts. He paid for the monument. Schumann donated some. But I think that this is also an homage, to Beethoven. So a bit more. Think that it's not pa pa pa. It's pa 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 ri. So pa 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 tam ta ri. And the sforzato, in fact, is not on the D. It's on the it's on the A. Right? Try. Feel the strong rhythm. Much better. Feel? Yes, exactly. So these will progressively get a little faster, but in the beginning you have to feel the tension between all of it. Whatever, right? All of these incredible tense elements. And that has to do with too much pedal. Sometimes and then I don't hear the rhythm. Instead, if you try, then you really get it. Yes. Now another aspect before, Legenden tone, in the tone of a legend, the narrative is that of a legend. So sometimes in opera, take for example in Trovatore of Verdi, when there is a moment where all these people are coming to gather around the fire, and the speaker will tell the story of the witch. When he writes, and he starts telling, recounting the tale. So there is a mystery, the voices go down, and I think this one goes down. You really want to hear my story? And then he goes, okay. So it starts with there was, once upon a time. Upon a time, there is a little mystery that surrounds this theme. You are telling a past tale, and you are re-evoking something that has certain colors or certain feelings or something. So you have to put yourself in the right mode for that, right modality. Can you try one more time? Not too slow. I will tell you the story that yes, a bit more legato this. I will tell you the story. I feel it's like a no, there's too many accents. When you sing, you wouldn't do. I will tell you. No, that's already too loud. It's accented. Listen to this. Here, if you like. Try with the left pedal a little bit. Yes. So what happens is that between the second octave and the chord, you take a little extra time. It should be basically. If you solve that issue, if it's smooth, then it will happen. Yes. But there is a ritardando, so. Only here a little. Now longer phrase. Tells the story, this time with more emotion. I suggest you practice the elements as separate elements. First, the tune and the staccato. So that you hear this very, very clearly. Then there is the other, then you can separate and practice. You practice that other element, which was the element yes, the earlier element. He manages to create continuity in the form by, using something that we heard before. And the pa is nothing else that just in slow, the first three notes of the beginning, or whatever, the first three notes of the 16th notes, but much slower. So all these elements that sound a little bit new to us, actually in the subconscious of our listening of a composition, they are not tremendously new. Yeah. What's interesting in a composition is sometimes to find those elements the composer wants us to hear with clarity, like main themes, for example, and to show and to discover the secondary themes or something that's less important, and how the composer is so smart at trying not to catch our attention too much by creating a material that, it's thematic somewhat, but it seems to have a lesser importance, It's definitely a hierarchical concept because our ear can simply, simply has limitations in how much it can retain. If you go to a bar and you listen to the conversation of your neighbors, and then you sometimes, somebody is speaking to you and you follow that conversation, and then you also hear fragments of another conversation from the table next to you, especially if they are so loud. and then maybe the waiter is speaking to you, but you continue the conversation. It's quite a counterpoint. This was Glenn Gould who had these tremendous ideas about counterpointing speaking, and he did all these radio shows based on that. And in some ways, we have to, you can follow the main conversation, but occasionally you hear, a few other things. But our ear has honest limitation to how much it can retain. So we need to really figure out what needs to grab the attention of the audience, and then other things that, will be heard this way. I would say generally not to exaggerate with what happens. Sometimes it becomes very frantic. And this, by the way, it's not a triplet. You play. You're playing two, you are lengthening the pause and you are playing actually two 30-second notes instead of. I know that it can easily, if you go faster, it can easily fall into that, but feel it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. It's not 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Sometimes you can practice to understand that, and then you skip the first note, and the rhythm is corrected. Yeah. Sorry, this is a humongous piece. We could spend a couple of days, but basically at the end, try. Try to show the notes that do. Very express, and the other one is. That voice. So, then the second time, so you keep all mezzo forte here, and you show the. And second time, maybe the C. The third time, the E. Then I would do together with just to spill over the pause, still gives us the pause a little bit. So don't change. But if you do a great two notes a little louder, and then diminuendo. You're mixing a dominant and a tonic, but because of the higher register and the way, the tempers stop anyway, and the good diminuendo and the timing, I think you can do a beautiful mix and it doesn't bother the ear. Yeah, so in other words, if you keep the mezzo forte and you really distinctively do a piano and a real pianissimo also that appears to be slower, you will say 4 times the same thing, but it appears to be still interesting, yeah? That's what I would recommend. Good, beautiful, thank you, thank you. Thank you.